Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bharani Nagarathnam. He's actually one of my former professors at Texas A&M. He is the Associate Professor of Instruction here at Texas A&M. And fun fact about him, he loves to watch Netflix movies and documentaries. Historical, true stories, spy movies, loves it all. And another fun fact, he does not follow Aggie football, even though it is literally religion in College Station. So I don't really understand how he manages to stay separate from that. It's truly impressive. But Bharani.
Thank you, Justin. Good morning and howdy to all of you. As Justin mentioned, I am from the Industrial Distribution Program at Texas A&M. For those of you who don't know about the program, we are the oldest and largest distribution-focused education program in the country. We have an undergraduate and graduate programs. We have more than 1,000 students. We graduate about 275 to 300 each year. And about 70% of them, they go to work for distributors in technical sales. And the remaining 30% in operations, mainly in the procurement area. So today, I wanted to share some of our research and our thoughts on changes in the distribution industry and how you can compete and succeed using a talent. Both Karthik and Sachin touched on the changes that are happening in the industry. We see a lot of consolidation continuing to happen, and the labor market is very tight. The unemployment rate is below 3.5%. Even though there will be a recession next year, we do not expect that to go above 5%. All of you are already experiencing a supply chain disruptions, transportation cost. All of these things add to your profitability pressures. We see that a change is constant, and change is going to accelerate, not just for distributors, but for everybody. The customer buying expectations have dramatically increased. Whatever they expect in B2C is what they are expecting in B2B, right? As consolidations grow and customer experience grows, it's imperative for distributors to focus on disciplined growth, really to grow the business, but also focused on gross margins, right? We cannot grow at the expense of gross margins. So the speed at which you can grow is only dependent on your people. It's not dependent on capital, on technology, or on suppliers that you can partner with. It truly depends on your employees. No process is more disrupted than sales. We see that the pandemic has permanently altered the distributors' sales processes. More than 50% of the buying decisions these days happen without a sales rep involvement, right? Our customers want to do their own research. They want to shortlist the options. Only then they want to speak to a sales rep, right? You take a look at your own experiences of buying a car, right? You are doing all the research and almost coming down to the top two options that you wanted to consider. before even entering a dealership, right? So digital interactions and e-commerce is up. The importance of a sales rep relationships are down. That is making a pricing and value discussion with customers all the more important. Selling has become hard, and salespeople are experiencing a burnout, right? And sales talent is also becoming expensive, and especially we see a lot of a turnover at the entry level sales employees. Two important challenges remain. One is how to get salespeople excited about omnichannel, right? The second challenge that I believe most distributors have not addressed yet is what's in it for me for salespeople to encourage customers to adopt e-commerce, right? So we see that these changes are happening because there are some dramatic changes on the seller side as well. Because if you look at your customers, their employees, they also have had a lot of turnover, right? We see distributors say that, yes, the pandemic is over, I'm on the road trying to sell, but when I go to see a customer, the person I want to visit with is working from home, right? What do I do? So all of these things are disrupting distribution of business. So I want to share with you 3 areas that you can improve to really compete and succeed. The first area is a succession of planning. If you look at any number of statistics, a lot of companies are struggling with developing the bench strength, not just for leadership roles, right? Because anytime you talk about a succession planning, you're always thinking about upper management. But if you are a small distributor and you have a branch location with 8 employees, if either the branch manager is going to leave or your driver is not showing up for work tomorrow, you have a problem, right? So succession planning, let me see, is very important because high potential talent is a business differentiator, right? So we recommend that you identify critical roles, not critical employees, but critical roles. What are the roles that you cannot operate with? If you have one person in your company running your payroll, and if they don't show up for work, you have a problem. That is a critical role, right? Then build a success profiles. What skills and competencies do they have to advance? Then identify those potential successors, individuals who could step into that role, either today or in the future. Then invest in their training and development. You want to choose them because of their past performance, results, and behaviors, or have your managers nominate them, or look at what future competencies you need. I see distributors now investing in e-commerce sales, investing in employees who have a skill sets that's going to help them succeed in the future. Then you want to develop them using a 70-20-10 approach. The 70 is learning on the job. The 20% is informal learning, that is learning from others, and really the last 10% is the formal learning. The formal learning. The key point I want to emphasize is a succession planning is not the job of the HR, it is the management role to identify and develop a people that can help with the growth in the future. I met with a distributor last Friday. They have 27 locations. They made a couple of recent acquisitions in the last 3 years. The owner said that they are not going to make any more acquisitions, even though there are candidates, because they do not have people who can run those locations. They're just exhausted out of their bench strength. The second area that I wanted to encourage you to look into is a capability development. You're executing your growth strategy depends on creating a market differentiating capability. You cannot achieve excellence with mediocre talent, right? Just by adding headcount, you are not going to succeed. The skills, the lifetime of skills is decreasing. We think that most skill sets, the lifetime is 5 years or less, right? So the definition of capability is a set of related skills that you need in your employees to drive a business results, right? If you look at any job, it's divided into roles, and each of the roles need multiple capability to succeed. So as an example, if you take a sales role, effective communication is one of the capability required to succeed in a sales role. And that encompasses multiple individual skills in order to become effective at communication. So we recommend that you invest in skills development, especially for your frontline employees, both hard skills and power skills, also known as soft skills, because your frontline employees are the ones who are talking to your customers. The third area that we want to focus on is retention. We are spending a lot of time these days on talent acquisition, but retention is key because the median tenure of employees in the US, this is all employees, is a little more than 4 years. If you look at the younger generation, it's only 2.8 years. The turnover rate is going to increase in the coming years. If your current turnover rate is 10 to 15%, you can see a 25 to 30% of turnover rate. That's a fourth of your employees that are turning over each year. The cost to replace them is a lot, especially if you consider the opportunity cost of lost business, not just the direct cost of replacing employees. It is more than 50% for entry-level employees, as much as 100% or more for seasoned employees and managers. Employee retention starts with onboarding. If you don't have a structured onboarding program, the chance of you losing the employee within the first year is very high. The second thing you can do is to build a psychological safety. This is where employees feel comfortable speaking without the fear of retribution or embarrassment. Right? Karthik touched on a culture. Young people are not afraid to leave jobs anytime. In fact, I have a colleague, his son was working for a building materials distributor. He didn't like the job. He left and moved back home. He's looking for a new job. We didn't do that in our time. You line up the next job before leaving the existing job, right? Moving back home is considered a failure, right? But these days, young people don't mind moving on because the company culture is not good, right? Recognition. You want to get the Gen Z involved and really focus on your recognition programs, inclusion and diversity matters. The next thing that you can do with engagement is really train your frontline managers. I see with many distributors, the leadership really understands, they have bought into it, they are supporting it, but really the frontline managers are struggling to engage and retain their talent, right? It's very, very common with distributors to promote a high-performing a salesperson into a branch manager. They lost a good salesperson, they gained a terrible manager, right? Because the skills required to be good at one is not the same as the other. Your frontline managers are the key to retention. Invest in your employees. Young people are all about learning and development, and the minute you stop investing in them, they are going to leave. They are going to leave. And then finally, pay transparency is coming. 13 states and multiple cities have mandated a pay transparency in some form or fashion. But also, there is a lot of crowdsourced information. If you have never heard of a TikTok channel called Pay Transparency Street, look it up, right? And there are many crowdsourced spreadsheets out there. So it's very important that you pay attention to these trends. I haven't found one for distribution, but that doesn't mean it's not out there. Okay? So in summary, the B2B customer behavior has changed, and customers are expecting a streamlined and digital buying experience. A hybrid buying experience needs a hybrid selling approach, which means a salespeople with new capabilities. Watch for the looming recession. Market forces, especially in sales and profitability pressures to continue. I encourage you to focus on multiple talent areas to set you up as a differentiator, as an employer of choice, and to be able to attract, develop, and retain a talent. So align your growth plans with your talent plans. If you look at the graphics there, 3 of the 10 fastest growing jobs are in sales development, business development, and inside sales. So with that, I want to thank DCKAP for the opportunities. I write every week on LinkedIn. Look forward to talking to you all at the break and lunch. Thank you all very much.